Hello everybody, Anna Sabramowitz here, and I help instructional designers and e-learning developers create interactive stories. Now, today's session is going to be quick, punchy, because I'm just revved up, and the goal is to give you a tip that will help you avoid this in the future. So, I just recently got sent a resource, and the resource was developed by a teaching and learning technology center. And it was a resource for people for other adults to consume and develop their own professional practice. The problem was it was a giant content dump, and the thing that makes me upset and angry is that these are the people who are setting the best practices for the rest of this organization as far as what learning should be. How do we avoid this? And I mean, seriously, it was built in the latest software. It ignored all of the potentials for engaging people. And it's funny because I get it. Like, there's a lot of people out there who, they'll have access to Articulate Storyline or Rise. They'll have access to Captivate, Camtasia, whatever else is out there. And, they have a lot of information to share. And then what happens is they're thinking, I don't know how to use these other interactive pieces, or I don't want to use click and reveal pieces because they might not stick. And I get that. That's totally cool. But when you take a topic that's very important and you create a giant content dump stream of it, this is what I just went through. Make the text even extra tiny so you can squish more stuff in there. I'm like, that to me just boils my blood, because it means that you don't care about what I think as an adult. You don't care about my experience. What you care about is your content and getting it out there and basically vomiting it out on me as an adult. And it infuriates me that you'd waste my time this way. So hopefully some of those people are maybe watching and they're thinking, okay, Anna, now that you've poo-pooed my giant content dump, which I've streamlined to be online available, how can we make this better? And to me, the number one thing you got to do is think, if you made one improvement on that particular, on this content dump, would be to start asking questions. Yes, that's it. And it doesn't have to be super sophisticated. Really, this is just you, whatever content you have, pause it and say, what do you think would happen next? Or what do you think about this idea before you even introduce it? Because guess what? Adults come in with their own ideas, with their own experience. And for you to ignore that and just poo-poo a whole bunch of content down their throats without even having them think about the context, they'll just read through it as fast as humanly possible because they don't care about it, and you haven't asked for their ideas or their thoughts or even for them to pause. So where this strategy can work is very, very many places. So let's say you have a video that you're shooting that's about some topic. Well, guess what you can do with that video? You can say, before you even talk about the next topic, you can say, hey, what do you think is now just take a moment right now and think, what is your definition of this? Okay, we're gonna go and talk about it now. Or another way to do it is simply, and I just talked to another lady who's been running training for years and years. We had a wonderful conversation, and I got to design training with her. And when we were designing the e-learning, she said, what I like is when the e-learning mimics my training. And the training, what it did is, she said she would begin each session with a whole bunch of questions that people would discuss, and then they would listen to the rest of the content and work through it to find the answers, to find out if they were right, to find out if their idea about what something is or answer to a provocative question is actually true, because it piques curiosity. And what it also does is it frames things in a different perspective. Now all of a sudden the questions that you choose are important things that somebody should know, and when they walk away from it, they know why you're asking. So it's not like every single piece of content is going to be attached to a question, but the major themes, the major ideas about what do you think about this idea, or what do you think about this approach, those are so simple to integrate, and it actually makes you focus on the learner first instead of the content first. So instead of, now this is my tip, right? Instead of, if you have a whole bunch of stuff that you're basically, this is your learner and you're just like overloading them with stuff and just going blah, right? All you got to do now is put them here. I'm just going to erase that. You put them here, you put them first, and you ask a question. You ask a question first to make them think and recollect first. And then you can show them some content that helps them answer those questions or even contextualizes the question a bit more. But start with the person. Don't start with your content. It is insulting and embarrassing that we're still putting out stuff like that where it's just like blah and no consideration for the person on the other end. If I wanted a book, if I wanted a good book, I'd pick up a book. I wouldn't pick up a page that's separated into, or a single page website. You don't need to spread it out for me. You know what I mean? So, sorry, but I was like, these are people who are designing learning and setting a tone for how learning should be designed for this organization, and this is what they put out, and they expect that to add value, and that pisses me off. So, now, as far as the way to ask questions, and my favorite way to ask questions is through scenarios, because what you can do is ask a question and then have a person even make a decision. So commit to an actual way of doing things and then experience the consequence. For me, that is the most awesome way to learn. So if that's something you want to get more details on and maybe have a couple of your own ahas that you can add to your own toolkit, go to elearningsecrets.com and register for my upcoming training. Every time I run this training, I get new questions and I get new perspectives, and I work that into my sessions. So it's getting better and better and better. It's going to be wicked good by the time, I run this many, many, many more times, if I do. When it runs out, I'll let you know. So register. I hope to see you there, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. If you see if your organization puts out this kind of stuff, the quickest fix is start with questions first. Engage people with questions. Provoke their reflection and thinking with questions. And don't let them move on until they answer that question or they have a chance to think that question through. And then you can start putting out the... All right. Talk to you next time.